Welcome everyone to another episode of Around the Block Talk. Today we have with us Mr. Rahul Sethi. He has over decades of experience in the technology industry. He's an influencer in the space of metaverse on LinkedIn and have worked with many global brands on this particular subject. So very happy to have you here today with us, Rahul. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Prateek. Really appreciate your persistence on bringing this session together for many weeks. I really appreciate you giving your time over the weekend. And thank you very much to the IDS company for hosting me, to the management team for this lovely initiative that all you teams are putting together. It's very hard to do it, and I think content creation by bringing people, people whom we have never known but still going and talking to them, bringing them around is a lot of work. So kudos to the team, and I really appreciate the initiative.
Thank you very much, Rahul. We can continue.
So for everyone who is looking at this webinar, I have been in the enterprise tech space for over 22 years now, and I started very early in my career. I started at about 21 years old, so I'm still not 55. So it's just that over a period of time, the natural progression has been that I love technology, and I've continued to work in the technology space, and always upgraded myself in whatever best that excites me, and that I can develop passion around it. So I represent a company called Web3. We are a Web3 and Metaverse company. We work with brands across India and now outside of India, and we design their Metaverse strategy. It's very exciting. It's extremely exciting because though Metaverse has come into more of a limelight around October or November of last year, when Facebook changed their name from Facebook to now Meta. However, what it has actually changed in the lives of people is that at least they are ready to hear about it, and it's an exciting experience. Tech, I think it's here to be. It's not going anywhere. And when people say to me, "Hey, Metaverse is future," I generally go tell them, "No, it's not future, because I'm talking to you about Metaverse today." So it's present. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Right, indeed. So with that, Rahul, we can start with the topic of our discussion today, and which is around metaverse. So we would love to hear your thoughts on what exactly is metaverse, and what does it mean for the general population in the coming future.
Great. So this is a question that that has to be answered in a very simplistic format, as simple as possible. You see, we have been experiencing immersive content for a long time. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and most recently mixed reality came into existence. This AR and VR has been in for the last 30 years plus, and perhaps it is the next level of content disposition in a way that there is it has progressed over a period of time. We started with Web 1 when I still remember those days in 2005 when I started my first company. We used to make discussion forums then for clients. 2005 or 6 is when Facebook and social media started to come into existence. I've been a member of LinkedIn since 2005, and I've extensively used social media to create a good reputation as a tech professional. And it has truly helped me create my own personal brand. However, Web 2 has just not helped me. Web 2 has created a creator economy of an extent that is unbelievable. People have made millions of dollars by putting their content on social media. with the integration of YouTube and other social media platforms, TikTok's video revolution that came in has truly upgraded the experience of people, to an immense extent. But everywhere we saw a centralized economy being built because domain is owned by GoDaddy, or domain is not owned by them. Domain is being registered on the registry, but being controlled by them. Hmm. And the fiasco of Net for India, when they suddenly shut the shop and some hundreds and thousands of websites went offline in just a matter of few hours, is centralized. Content on general social media, including Facebook's the world or others, of course, is very centralized. I mean, we are looking at the majority of large organizations having to control larger set of data around the world with just a few players. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. Facebook is owned by by Facebook, Meta. We've got Insta and so on and so forth. WhatsApp certainly centralized. On the other hand, we've got YouTube, Google. The whole Google algorithm. So it's very centralized. And what has always been an issue with is with the privacy, of the content that we are putting onto the social media. And this is where I think a certain set of people continue to think of creating a more decentralized um, infrastructure. And that set of people, when they continue to think around it, some of them, like the Bitcoin founder, Mr. Satoshi, they 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 are the ones who started with the first, I think, with the first revolution. They were the starting point. So blockchain started to come into existence, decentralization started to happen, and blockchain has been in for a very long time. I think I probably have heard about blockchain since about 10 or 12 years. And to be honest with you, in those times, I was not even interested in looking at decentralization because I think we were at a very early stage of realizing what we are losing in Web 2. You know, now with the decentralization of the internet, um, the question really was, okay, we are going to have lots and lots of tokens, lots and lots of different types of cryptos, but are we just a crypto economy of just gambling it around and just transacting on a crypto, or can we have more dApps on it and we can build some models around DeFi, or we can have certainly some DAOs came into existence. And the question really was then about how and what is going to be done now. What next? So while infrastructures on different Web3 decentralized platforms were starting to build, I think one of the business cases people found was collaboration. Because unless and until we will not collaborate with each other, decentralization and dApps are not really going to change anything. So so with that, I think the experience creation question probably came into the minds of some of the early adopters who thought, well, now it's time for us to go and create some parallel universe where we can have people create experiences. And the question or the question was, what is that to be called? I think someone had to take the first mover advantage and said, okay, it's called Metaverse because it's a parallel world, a uniquely designed experience for people who want to live in the virtual world, you know. And that's how metaverses have come into existence. And metaverses are not owned by one central entity. These are all being based on several different types of decentralized, networks. And now with newer opportunities of creating, digital assets on those metaverse platforms, people are now thinking of going ahead and doing more commerce around it. And we've all heard so much about NFTs in the last 1 year. I think it's been a revolution of its kind. When nobody thought that just a single Frank Ape painting could be sold for so many hundreds of thousands of dollars, or the other board ape can be sold for millions of dollars, and so on and so forth. So it's, I think, a natural progression in terms of the technology, and it's only going to stay here. So metaverse is based on a certain platform, which in my view the best is decentralized platform, where it's open for public, and then you can go create your own digital assets for enhancing your brand image, bringing more engagement on it, and do hundreds and thousands of other things that people are exploring, at this juncture.
Right, indeed. So, Rahul, you explained us the fact that metaverse should be a public space primarily. It should not be controlled with a single entity. And now that, so today we're seeing a lot of these metaverses coming up. So, Sandbox, Decentraland, also some in India also. So, how do you see the future of development of metaverse? What are the things that are going to happen, and what will happen with so many metaverses?
Yeah, I mean, think of it, right? So I mean, let's come back to the physical world, because this question, I will start with the physical world. The place where I live is Noida, and I live on the expressway, which is halfway to Greater Noida. So my home is where I am right now. There's an expressway parallel to my home. If I go 15 kilometers this side, I go to Greater Noida. I come 15 kilometers this side is Noida Central. Now, Noida Central has got a mall which is called the Mall of India. Hmm. And then I've got on the other side in Greater Noida, I have a mall called the Venice Mall. In the Venice Mall, you have H&M, you have other brands, showrooms, whatever. But the footfall is just a few hundreds, maybe thousand, maybe very limited, not in lot of thousands. But when you go to Mall of India, there it is in hundreds and thousands of people who are coming over the weekend. So when you make your infrastructure and you want to go create or launch a brand, of course you will go to a place where there is more footfall. So while a number of companies will want to create their own blockchain based metaverses, the one successful will be where you have got footfall. The second point is the Mall of India in Noida has certain types of people coming in, because they are most likely going to be people from within the 20 kilometers periphery of that mall, maybe 25. Generally, we don't go to a mall which is 100 kilometers from my home, right? People don't do
Right,
that, right? People go to the nearest mall. They would rather take a little bit, a few kilometers here and there, but it still cannot be 100 kilometers.
right,
So, and now if you go to the same Saket Mall in Delhi, which is the one of the most sought after malls, or the mall in the Santkund, which is of course a very very big mall over there. Of course, the kind of people coming over there are different, you know, because there is a different class of people, right? So in
right,
Delhi, in Basant Kund, there is Basant Vihar, there's different class of people who come, and of course there you will have showrooms which are very high-end five-star showrooms. You have a same place in Mall of India, you will have five-star showrooms, but not the five-star showrooms of that place. And similarly, you go to Mumbai or you go to other places, of course those malls are more elevated depending on the kind of people, the class of people that's around that mall, and that's how the mall business works. In metaverses also, I believe the same. I believe in the same principle. Anyone for that matter can go and launch a metaverse platform, build it around some, do minting on certain blockchain. Go ahead, go make the blocks, come to the market, have a go-to-market strategy, go do pre-mint, mint, whatever. End of the day, you have to know what is your audience. So every metaverse platform has been built around something called a customer persona. On a decentralized, I should not go and make an office space on decentralized. Doesn't make sense. I don't want to go and create a game where where I know wherein I know that the professional gamers are not coming off on that scale as much as they are coming on Oxyworld for that matter, or Roblox for that matter. So every metaverse platform hence has got a certain customer persona, and that's a good news. That's a very good news, because you can choose which metaverse platform you want to go. The last submission on the same question would be that, and it's an extension in terms of the messaging that I want to send it out through this communication today, is that Not only that, it really depends on which metaverse are we going to choose. I think metaverses are always going to be continuing to come up, and 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 there is going to be the ones who have entered and they have become now fully functional, and that there is not much left in it, and the transactions are not happening, whereas there is a possibility of other metaverse platform extracting their user base to that other platform, you know. So like the way in the 90s we used to use Netscape a lot. Hmm? In the 2000 we used Microsoft Explorer a lot. Next to the era we used Firefox a lot. Then after that Chrome a lot. But then going forward, it is possible that other other browsers might come. So what has happened is it is the same concept. What has happened is that over the period of time, the customer expectation have changed. So metaverse business is very competitive business. The platforms that today they are coming up, if they are not thinking of a long-term implications of how their consumer would move from a metaverse to metaverse, I think they're missing out the game. You know. So this is also important to note, for companies who are thinking of launching newer and newer metaverses. And of course, for brands or companies, before they choose any metaverse, they must know the objective. They must know why they want to do it, where they want to do it, what kind of people are going to come in, and then they should choose, the platform.
Right, indeed. So, in your viewpoint, uh, in the development of metaverse, we're going to see some niche metaverses, each with their own set of audience and their own set of persona coming onto them. So today we also see a lot of brands and lot of uh, companies today exploring the space of metaverse. And so it's still a little overwhelming for a lot of them what they can do on metaverse, what are the possibilities with it, because it's all exploratory in nature today. So, how can these brand or how can these companies leverage metaverse? And as you were mentioning that they should have a clear vision of why they're doing it. So, in let's say you have to advise a company on how to and why to go to metaverse. So, what are how would you do that?
I think the first step would be, why do you want to go to metaverses? I think the answer which I am getting right now is this. Okay, I've been asked a lot of times, what is the ROI of metaverse? And I've been doing a lot of a lot of research. Excuse me. I've been doing a lot of research in terms of what really is the ROI of metaverse. So let's look at these two questions in the context of what companies should do. So first thing is, why do you want to go to metaverse? Is reason is one. The first one I believe right now for brands and companies is a FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay, for some reason they all want to go because they have a FOMO, but then as soon as they will go deep dive into it, they have these questions, and then suddenly it will fizzle out. Saying, oh, okay, this can be done, that can be done, blah blah blah. Okay, let's now do it later. The second thing is, the second important thing is companies who are unable to create a link between their product and the customer or the audiences that are coming onto the metaverse. So it's very simple. Somebody made a NFT, a shoe NFT for a concert that happened on Decentraland about a year back, and sold that for $500,000 in some 24 hours. There was a big news about that, concert and what someone did with the shoe, because the avatar of the singer was also wearing the similar shoe. And there were certainly only limited number of shoes as NFTs. So hence those shoes are today also being traded. Those NFTs are being traded today even on OpenSea. The second part is, they the the second part which I said was about how and why companies are unable to link their products with the kind of audience which is coming on the metaverse, and that has to be, I think, very much defined properly. The third part is, when The organizations want to do it, and there are serious organizations who want to do it. They have to think of a long-term strategy. This is not something where, hey, I will go and make something on the metaverse, then I will go do a couple of campaigns here and there, and that's it. Web3 community is Web3 communities are communities which don't believe in Web2. Today, you and me are doing this particular session on a Zoom. You and I know that there was a big news about Zoom being a Chinese company in those days when the COVID happened, and Zoom was zooming, and suddenly there was this news came in that, oh, all these video recordings have been captured, all these companies are doing all their confidential discussions on the Zoom, and 100% things that are being recorded on Zoom are being controlled by a centralized company. I mean, come on, it's true. Now, it's never going to be deleted, because when I do any kind of a streaming, like I was doing a streaming just before our call, I told you that streaming on LinkedIn goes. I mean, it's purely on LinkedIn whether they want that streaming to be online over there or not. End of the day, it's not decentralized. So Web3 people are different. That's a whole new community. That is the people who don't believe in this, Web2 or a social media Facebook. No, they are on Discord. I mean, it's so surprising to me. It's so surprising to me, and technology has always surprised people. I mean, the generations have been surprised by technology. That a few days back, I got a request of connection from my daughter, who is 10 years old, on Discord. And when I went back to my son, who is now studying 10th, and I spoke to him about Discord, he knows more Discord than me. He was talking to me about the servers that they're putting together. They're creating those servers and they are on Discord. So again, why Discord and why not the same, Slack, for that matter? Because companies are creating servers on Discord because they don't want other people to come and share information on centralized platforms. So the Gen Z, or the newer generation that is coming in, they want to be on these decentralized platforms. And let me tell you, with the DAOs and the DeFi, initiatives that are being taken right now, they are going to change this. They will have ultra impact on the whole paradigm. The whole paradigm shift will happen. So when Gen Z, and they have a very clear vision of them going to that particular Web3 community, they have to disconnect themselves from Web2 or existing people. I think they have to understand that Web3 is the newer generation. That's a different people with a different mindset. So the day people have a clear distinction that this side is something which is being covered by marketing and digital agencies, this side is what we want to cover, and then we will want to create metaverse experiences. The last point about this whole, about if I go to metaverse now, what happens? That's one more question, right? So so here there are two things. Okay? One is, well, when you go to metaverse, you really cannot just go and make a store and say, oh, I'm happy with it. I mean, it doesn't end there. You got to have a strategy. You have to go ahead, you have to go build your own NFTs, you will have to create membership reward programs that can have people earn the points and not points, here in this case, earn rewards, okay, in some form or the other, and then also maybe do it in some way in collaboration, where you are able to attract the influencers in Web3 community. So just alone plain metaverse experience will not help brands and organizations. Like I said, it is a full flow of things that one has to do, and that's what we do when I go and work with organizations or brands who are looking at metaverse and Web3 as an opportunity. I have to go sit down and work with them, create a roadmap on the metaverse, and then say, okay, and let's go tick, 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 and that roadmap we have to follow it, now going forward in the long term. So it's a very long-term opportunity, and it's very important, I think, for the brands to move into this space because they will get time to learn a few things. In fact, more than that, they will get time to unlearn a few things.
Right, indeed. So, as you mentioned that a thought out strategy is important for the company and how they're going to get there. Also, there are a lot of barriers to adoption to metaverse today. So, is it only available on VR? Can people access it to the phone or to the PCs? So, I think the company has to consider both the aspects of it, how they're going to get traffic to it, and what they can eventually do with it. So, what are your views on that, and how can companies actually get traffic on their metaverse, even if they have it? And what kind of an economy or what kind of an ecosystem do you see forming when all these people onboard into metaverse and all these companies have their own metaverse?
Yeah. So what had happened was one of my posts went viral into this Discord server and in couple of these communities, and of course also on LinkedIn. When I put that most companies will spend more money on Web 2 to be popular in Web 3.
Right.
Simple.
Indeed.
Companies will spend more money popularizing Web 3 in Web 2. Okay.
Right.
Technically, because there is no way that you can simply go and put money and start doing campaigns on the Web 3.
Yes, yes.
Oh, it's not possible. I mean, you can't do that. And right now, we are not there. What's really happening is that the what's really happening is that oh yeah, and one of the things when it comes to this sort of commercial transactions around Web 2 and Web 3 and giving promotions here and there, companies are using metaverses for more of tactical branding and engagement, sort of with that mindset. Okay. Now this thing comes up. Okay, saying fine, I want to choose a metaverse. All right. Now the most popular metaverse, decentralized metaverse, is Decentraland. And I'm a firm believer it's a good platform. As of today, it's doing well. I'm disclaimer, I'm not a promoter of Decentraland, but as of today, it kind of makes sense to me. Um, and Decentraland doesn't need a VR. It is not VR supported today. I'm today talking 2nd July, 2021. Okay, I don't know tomorrow, maybe a week later, if they have a VR support, but as of today, they don't. Whereas it's all accessible on the web. So this myth of a metaverse in a VR headset, I'm, and by the way, on the other hand, Horizons, the Facebook platform, the Meta platform, only works on VR. So like I said, so every metaverse has their own structure, and depending on has their own tech infrastructure. It is only getting evolved. If we go to more of a centralized spatial kind of a tool, where we are using it for more of corporate, good to have avatars, ready player me integrated with it and all that. Of course, there you can use VR. So this is a sort of a very big misconception that for accessing metaverses you need a VR headset. However, when you access any supported metaverse on VR using a VR headset, let me tell you that experience is something that people won't forget so easily. So it's very interesting, you know. But to clarify, not every metaverse or for every immersive experience you need a VR headset. No, that's not right. That's not true.
Right, indeed. So it's possible to access with phone as well and with your PC as well. So that would make the adoption easier in that sense.
Exactly, exactly. On a PC, at least on a Mac, the experience looks very good. But you see, it is going to be ultimately immersive technology will need to be accessed using the most latest gadgets, right? I mean, your immersive technology, right? It's like this. I mean, if I have gotten an iPad 1. I still remember when it was launched in the US. It was not even in India. I went to the US and my laptop crashed. So rather than buying a new laptop, I went ahead and bought the iPad. And in that iPad, I don't have a selfie camera. It was a without selfie camera. Why? Because there was no need for a selfie, like a video conferencing at that point, because we were using Skype, right? Now, over a period of time, if I go click, and it still works, by the way, even today. So if I now go and click on that iPad on a YouTube, it says sorry, it's not supported. Okay. Similarly, if now comes 10 years later, I want to experience a VR headset and I'm using I want to experience a metaverse and I'm using a 6-year-old VR headset, of course the experience is not going to be good. If I'm using a 10-year-old computer, of course it's not going to be good. So it's always good to be using metaverses or any immersive experiences on the latest hardware, or a little better hardware resolution. Experience on the web is very good of that of metaverse. I really don't see any challenges in that.
Right, indeed. So also, Rahul, that the metaverse today, it uh, some of the things that it is capable of is giving you a virtual infrastructure. So maybe some physical infrastructure is missing, and that gives you a virtual infrastructure. So something that we're doing in education at IDS is to reach out to more people who don't have physical infrastructure. They can attend schools and colleges. So that is one aspect of it. And so in terms of the things that it can deliver, which is missing in the physical world or which is more expensive in the physical world. So what are your views on that, and what kind of things can metaverse deliver in that space?
In one of my recent in one of my most recent conferences I was attending, one of the very intelligent, a very successful entrepreneur, he was talking about some very good business cases, and one of the things he said to me in that debate said that not every medical college can buy MRI machine. It's going to cost like 3 or 5 crores, you know. And not every medical college can spend $1 million go buy a new MRI machine, because it's always also used for very limited time, you know. So if you go create on the platform that IDS is building, if you go create an MRI experience over on that platform, um, there is absolutely no doubt that rather than spending $1 million, they can get the similar experience, in fact much better experience, on the on your platform, and that could be done in just a few thousands of dollars, if not million. Students can collaborate on different types of content. You're looking at integrating augmentation on the virtual reality by going ahead and putting some different types of animations and visual discovery and so on and so forth, things on the content. There is absolutely no doubt that metaverse has, or immersive experiences have, a huge impact when it comes to building educational content. So that's a pretty good stream, and a lot of companies are working in it. I think, but I have a disclaimer on that, because what I think is that there is still a huge difference in why you should look at a virtual reality content which is more 3D and 360, and on the other hand you have got this metaverse thing. Like I said, metaverse is more for a public. you know Virtual reality is more when you wear a headset, or if you want to do a web VR, for a educational content. It's very private content. I mean, there's no need for you to go put a MRI machine in a Decentraland and have people go and visit Decentraland. Come on, I mean, that's not required. What is required there would be that, hey, if you really want your brand to be shown over there, kind of things you're doing, maybe you want to attract more people internationally who are coming over there on that particular Genesis point, and you just want them to be excited about it, Um, but immersive experiences are here to stay. I don't think so that immersive experiences are going anywhere. And educational content, if you're able to go build universities online where people can walk in and you can have a mentor or any other, a senior leader going and doing sessions in the university, that's a great opportunity, because doing it in a 2D like the way we are doing right now, isn't it this boring compared to how we can do it on a metaverse, right? There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Right, indeed. So also in the physical space today, there are a lot of restrictions. Like if you want to travel abroad, there's a lot of barriers today,
No doubt.
and with metaverse, those barriers are significantly decreased because just with your internet, just with a virtual infrastructure, you can collaborate and meet in better ways. So, what are your views on that, and how metaverse is going to kind of overcome the challenges in the physical world?
Select few. There are people today whom I meet. In fact, I have met with an owner of an event company most recently 2 months back, who confidently told me that he has never built a website. I just said, "Vanakkam, sir. Great. Good to know that you've never done a website. You don't have a Facebook handle. You don't have a LinkedIn handle. Good luck to you. You know, there is no need for us to think that if we are not on the internet, then we are it's okay. I mean, there's no need for us to do that. I think good or bad is secondary. I'm thinking there's no need. You know, there is no need for us to think that, hey, we have to go find new ways of learning and collaborating with our clients and our users, in the case of software industry, in the case of university students, and so on and so forth. There's no need for us to go and say, hey, we don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. I think we should always explore, learn, and try new things. The the same thing happens on the same principle applies on the question that you asked me. Physical infrastructures will exist, the parallel infrastructure have to also exist. Both will exist. The flight simulator is a 50-year plus old product. If a physical flight simulator was not required, then we would have at least crashed a minimum 1,000 planes by now or more. Okay. If a company which is doing today, automobile company which is going and designing new products, has been designing the new products on a clay, doing casting, right? Or a different, things for doing casting and all that. Well, they are over a period of time changing, and they're using mixed reality to collaborate, creating products now virtually. So the need for any organization to go into the metaverse or create a digital twin of their own, university or a company or whatever. End of the day, it's always going to only add value. You know. Now, physically, whether a person wants to go, absolutely, a person will always go physically, but it doesn't mean he can go all 12 months physically. There's a possibility that I may want him to just come first physically twice, virtually maybe 4 times, 5 times, or more. Because human to human connect is still required. You see, in business, in business and commerce, we will always have. Yeah, COVID pushed us to the limit, and hopefully, God willing, Dubara COVID is not coming. But I think it's a very gradual, natural. Again, the progression, like the word I used before, that companies will now start to think of creating digital twins. Over a period of time, they will want to have collaboration on it. They will continue to move their content on it, and over a period of time, this will become a reasonable opportunity that will be very sustainable as well.
Right, indeed. So, as you very rightly pointed out, that it's not just going to make the physical meetings or the physical locations irrelevant. So now this metaverse has the capacity to enhance what the physical nature of our meetings of or how we do
Yeah.
things. So how do you think we can build on top of this, like get the best of both the physical world and the virtual world? So with the metaverse, you don't have to restrict yourself to even providing just a 3D space. There are lot many things that can be done with it because you're not bounded by many of the restrictions of the physical world. So how do you think metaverse is going to enhance our physical lives?
So metaverses are going to definitely enhance it, So let's look at what's going on today. We've gotten start with this, right? Start with the first example. Um, friends couldn't meet because one is in Singapore, one is somewhere in US, one is somewhere in India, blah blah blah, and they couldn't meet, in person, or for whatever reason they want to still meet virtual. A company called Exclusable launched NFT based penthouse. They're very popular. At least I've been seeing their posts and everything else around their NFTs. And they have penthouses. They're going and doing partying over there. Now it doesn't mean that they will do party every day over there, but it's not a bad idea to create that asset and give it to people who want to try it out. H&M already has a store in the metaverse. They are putting together those, they are going ahead and putting together those experiences of H&M on the metaverse because they still want their brand to be visible when the Gen Z, the Web3 community continues to build. There there are people who are selling NFTs, right, left, right, and center, because there are galleries now on the metaverse where people can go and transact and they can go buy art, and that is not any kind of scam. I still don't understand why people become so negative about the NFT as a scam. I think it's all about collectible, and if somebody wants to collect what he wants to collect, I mean, it is what it is. You know, um, in India's 80% of India's homes, we have gotten a cabinet on one of the walls in either a drawing room or a dining area where our parents or our spouses have kept things, um, which they have bought over years, and they are just lying over there inside, and they are things which are like ek ke aage ek type they've kept it, right? You've always kept things which you've just bought from some, let's say I've traveled to a country and I've bought a flag of the country or something. I can always go and keep it as a collectible with me because it is what it is. um, organizations are organizations are creating those digital assets for them, for more brand recall, more community building and those kind of things. So the context of the so therefore the context, if anything, I believe that it's a journey. I think the journey will continue as we move ahead. Hmm? And there is going to be an experience creation for the community. Hmm? And that over a period of time, newer and newer business cases will come out. We are still at the tip of the iceberg. We absolutely are sitting on the tip of the iceberg. We are moving towards a creator economy every single day. We are going towards a collectible economy every single day. We are going towards decentralization and blockchain based transactional systems on a day to day basis. And on top of it, experience has to be built, whether in the form of dApps or whether in the form of metaverse experiences or NFTs. End of the day, either it is going to be visual or transactional, but there is no third thing in the world. And why not move from a 2D to a 3D world? I mean, why not? We are we are we are all aware that 3D is more visual, 3D is more immersive, 3D is more interactive, 3D is more and more better. You know, so it's just moving into that direction. And look at the next maybe 1 year or two, and you will find some of those most exciting experiences that today are being in the building stage will come out, and it's going to be more and more exciting.
That's great to know, Rahul. So also now you mentioned the blockchain aspect of it or the NFT aspect of it. So how does the metaverse interact with these concepts and blockchain? And how what is the role of blockchain and NFTs in metaverse?
Blockchain is the fundamental baseline of running decentralized economy, and whether is it a layer one or a layer two, whether is it Ethereum or any other Solana or others. I think at the end of the day, they are always going to be the baseline, tech stacks, which is going to power this Web3. um, NFTs are collectibles. NFTs do not really have a utility right now, but there are companies or individuals who are trying to create a utility around NFT. Like for example, I gave you I was talking about earlier on the Gary Vee, the concert that he did, and he converted those. NFTs, tickets to NFTs, and today those NFTs are tradable. At the same time, I met up with a very interesting entrepreneur called Zo Hostel, which is a hostel, the chain, and they also have their NFT. They provide concierge services. I also know a lot of people who are trying to build utilities of the NFTs, and NFTs again are going to be based on low gas fee blockchains and low gas fee blockchains, and most likely NFT marketplaces are the ones who are going to most likely control the NFTs audience, because WazirX is not really getting audience from maybe Russia, or I'm not sure about it, but I'm just speaking about generalized. WazirX is a very reputable name in the NFT industry, or general Web3, and I truly respect them. But of course, compared to other platforms like OpenSea, for example, or others, of course, the audience are different. So if presumably we look at the NFT marketplaces being based on certain blockchains, their numbers is outgrowing on a day-to-day basis. There are companies which are coming up with uh, NFT white label products. Like one of the recent examples I saw was NFT Kali, a decent platform. I went through it. I met up with one gentleman who is handling that product, and very nicely done product. I think it's still in making. It's still not that mature, but it's in the process. So a lot of white label NFT, websites are going to come up and all that. So NFTs are here to stay. They also work, or they also operate on a certain blockchain. Um, so connection between the NFT and blockchain is very much established. Metaverses have a little more integration to it. They are not as transactional as NFTs, because I can always load my content as NFTs on the metaverse platforms. Number one. Number two, I can always pre-mint them and mint them and have people mint them or bid buy whatever transact commerce, to be done on that. On the other hand, Metaverse also gives me the opportunity to put those NFTs that I've launched separately in the digital asset that I've got, on the platform. And if it's a decentralized Metaverse, that's a great news, because even today, the DAO of Decentraland, the two founders of Decentraland, are no more actively doing and taking any decisions on Decentraland. It's the DAO, and DAOs are going to play a huge role, in establishing the fact that blockchain is sustainable, blockchain is here to stay, blockchain dApps are the ones which are the future, and I think as we move ahead, we just are waiting for more and more people to come in, more and more people to come and contribute to the community, and as it moves ahead, I think metaverse, blockchain, NFTs, and further other dApps are all going to be in the same place. There's a humongous opportunity of learning, a humongous opportunity of contributing, and a humongous opportunity in terms of the ROI that we can get from a Web3 community as a whole.
Right, indeed. So, also, like as you've mentioned, summarizing it a little bit. So we have a different set of community, Web3 community, who wants things done in a different way, in a more decentralized way. So they own more of their content, they own more of their data, and so now we have blockchain enabling that kind of a community, a sense of decentralization, a sense of ownership. And top of that, we are building a metaverse experience. So I think that is the kind of thing, uh, the kind of ecosystem that is coming up. So what is your comment on this entire ecosystem as such, and how this is going to shape up in the near future?
I think it's shaping up as we speak. You and me are talking over the weekend, you know, and you are taking the initiative of creating people content around concepts people where they're good at propagating the Web3 messaging out in the market. And like I said, there is a contribution. There is a huge contribution opportunity, for anyone. Uh, Number one. So I think guys who are contributing, then just consuming, have to be more and more, you know. And no tech ever evolved in the way the Web3 is evolving. It's amazing. When you go to Web3 related events, right? It's so amazing. You're finding people who are going away from the Web 2 to Web 3, or they are propagating Web 3 as a whole, but still they have to go and publish the information on the Web 2. You see, that that is where that intersection is where I see the day that intersection becomes lesser and lesser dependent on the Web 2, the Web 3 community will take over from there.
Right, right. So also, what do you think these opportunities in metaverse mean for a country like India? We have a large population. There's a lot of people who don't have access to good physical infrastructure, and still a lot of people are coming to the internet today. So what is the opportunity for a country like India here?
Oh wow, that is. I think India has the opportunity of becoming the metaverse capital of the world. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is talking about it. India has the humongous opportunity because not only that we are the biggest content creators. Don't forget we are also one of the biggest content consumption, destinations in the world. I mean that's why Meta opened the first office in Gurgaon, the Meta Lab. You know, because they want to target Indian consumers. They are absolutely no other. Where is the next population? I mean, are we saying that we're going to go to China? And go create competency of that same in China? I don't think so. I mean, are you going to find so many software developers going creating or engineering graduates out there in China who have English proficiency to the extent that Indians have? I don't think so. So there is a lot. There is definitely going to be the new engineering faculties to be made for the Web 3 site. Uh, I am working with a few colleges right now who are essentially wanting to create a Web3 and a metaverse stream for students. You know, so like AI ML has evolved over the last few years, the metaverse Web 3 blockchain is also evolving the same way. You know, India has the most critical role to play in the Web 3 economy because I mean there are 100 reasons I can give you. One of the reasons is look at the massive population which is the youth in India. Ready to try. They all want to become millionaires without doing nothing. Web 3 is the opportunity, right, for the next billion-dollar company. Why not? Why not? If we have got more millionaires and got more billionaires, it's a great opportunity for the country, right, as a whole. So I think I think everyone talks about it. I mean, I'm not the only one saying that, hey, metaverse is India has the opportunity of becoming a metaverse capital. I mean, I truly believe in it. I think a lot of other business leaders like me also believe in it, and they're all talking about it, working towards it.
Right, that's great to know. So one key difference that I could see with Web3 and the onset of internet. So the when the internet was being built, it was quite a closed kind of an evolution where it was happening in a very closed space with few participants who are able to build on it. But with Web3, we see a very decentralized kind of a performance, and it's not happening at in any one particular location. It's happening at a very global level, and the difference is that a lot of emerging economies today, like Africa, India, South Asia, they are very big on Web3. The adoption is over there is happening very rapidly. So, what are your views on this redistribution that it might bring uh, uh, in the economic order, or in the technological capacities that the world have today?
Many things here. Many things. You see, I mean, like I said, right? I mean, I'm it's such a general question, but I don't want to compare Africa as a whole to India and as a whole to Asia Pacific. I'm just thinking that the way that businesses will transform themselves at the speed that they will transform themselves, okay, will define who becomes the metaverse capital in the world. Let me put it this way. If businesses in Africa had the opportunity to digitally transform themselves over the years, of course, the ecosystem of the tech folks and the other guys would have been created there already. Um, one of the guys whom I remember about a year and a half, two back, just while I speak to you, I could recall that um, a company that is owned by Microsoft and players like Microsoft, okay, has got one of the huge bases of I think about 500 to 1,000 people in Accra, which is the capital of Ghana in West Africa. But the same Microsoft in India has got over 100,000, I don't know more, with the largest base of Microsoft non US employees are based out of India. You know, they I think the captives in India, when they will go create the capability, that capability has to be created in the economy, which not only is a creator economy but also is a huge consumption economy. So it can move in whichever direction because it's all about first mover advantage, isn't it, Pratik? Does it make sense?
Indeed, indeed.
So yeah, so there's a lot going on.
Sure, Rag. So, with that, Rahul, thank you very much for appearing on our show today. And it was great to interact with you.
Absolutely a pleasure, Pratik. Thank you. Have a great day and have a great weekend.